Hi there, and welcome to The Daily Gardener, an almanac of garden history, literature, and small botanical joys. I'm Jennifer Eveling, and today is August 25th. In The Secret Life of Bees, Sue Monk Kidd wrote one of the best sentences ever written about August. She said, "August had turned into a griddle, where the days just lay there and sizzled." That's it, exactly, isn't it? The August griddle bakes the lawn brown and wilts tender herbs by 10 in the morning. It makes me slide the deck door open and then think, never mind, and close it and leave the AC on and the house shut tight. It's so tempting just to step back and leave the garden be, to assume everything is fine because the sprinkler runs and I can see green through the kitchen window. But in August, things in the garden brew, and a small problem becomes a big problem in September. Powdery mildew, hornworms on the tomato plant, and a clogged drip line turning a whole bed into a desert. And then the wasps appear. Wasps love August. They love quiet corners and places no one looks until we see the nests, under the eaves of the shed, or beneath the patio umbrella, and in the upper corners of the covered porch. And they especially love a lace cap hydrangea. And I learned that the hard way with one by my porch at the cabin. And when it's covered with stinging pollinators this time of year, I stay away and keep the front door closed. Here's today's garden history. It was on this day, in 1906, that the English writer Mollie Panter-Downes was born in London. She wrote a best-selling romance novel at 16, and then she spent 46 years writing for The New Yorker, 852 pieces, and she wrote nearly all of them in a little garden hut out past the house, where every morning she brought her lunch and ate it as she looked out at the grounds of her Surrey garden. In 1947, Mollie published a novel called One Fine Day. It runs across one hot summer day in 1946 when the war was over. The maids and the cook are gone, and Chandler, the gardener, never returned home. That's why the garden is a jungle, and finding a new gardener falls to Laura Marshall, the main character. When her 10-year-old Victoria looks at the garden, she thinks it's perfect as is. Laura said her daughter loved the lawns, white with daisies. And it was on this day, in 1935, that the American poet Charles Wright was born in Pickwick Dam, Tennessee. In 1998, he won the Pulitzer Prize, and in 2014, he became America's Poet Laureate. Charles spent his summers out in Montana in a small writing cabin he called Xanadu. One morning, as he walked there to write, he discovered that toadstools had come up overnight. And by the time he sat down to write, a poem was fully formed in his mind. He typed it out exactly as it stands today. And the New Yorker ran his poem Toadstools in 2010. He said toadstools glow in the twilight like rooted will-o'-the-wisps. Then he said toadstools mean nothing to him at all. He just keeps his distance. Charles Wright turns 91 today. And finally, it was on this day in 2006 that two naturalists found the tallest living tree on Earth in a remote part of the Redwood National Park in California. Chris Atkins and Michael Taylor hunted tall trees for years before they came upon a coast redwood and named it Hyperion. Researchers climbed it that September and dropped a tape from the crown all the way to the ground. It read 379 feet. In terms of age, Hyperion is 600 to 800 years old, which is actually young for a redwood. It stands on a hillside where almost every other old tree was cut down. But Hyperion is still growing. It's now over 381 feet tall. Today, no one is allowed to go and see it. The Park Service closed off the entire area around Hyperion in 2022, and the fine for violating the perimeter is $5,000. It's time to grow that garden library with today's book, Plants Go to War by Judith Sumner. This book is a history of the Second World War told entirely through plants, and it's the first book to ever attempt such a thing. Naturally, America's victory gardens are in it, as well as Dig for Victory in Britain, with carrots and cabbages and potatoes feeding millions. But then it keeps going, delving into the products made from plants. Rubber went into gas masks and barrage balloons. Cotton and hemp made the clothing, canvas, and rope. And penicillin was grown on a medium made from corn. Even the chocolate and the chewing gum in a soldier's rations came from a tree. Underneath all this activity sat one fact. The United States was cut off from imports, and it had to grow what it needed at home or go without. And that's the whole book, really. Every ship that didn't come in became a row that someone had to dig. And the garden stopped being a hobby and became a vital supply line. Judith Sumner is a botanist, and she tracked down all the plants that played a role in every corner of the war. The camouflage, the jungle survival manuals, and the botanical gardens, which were of infinite value, and most of their collections were quietly moved somewhere safer. Plants Go to War by Judith Sumner is for the gardener who wants to know what a vegetable bed once had to carry. And finally, here's something sweet to ignite the little botanic spark in your heart. Today's fictional correspondence comes from the poet Celia Thaxter, writing from Appledore Island in the summer of 1894. Dear Daily Gardener, your last letter said you were writing to me at 2 a.m. Gosh, you are a night owl, but I am an early bird. I was out at 4 again this morning, which my friends think is madness, and I bet you do too. But my garden is 15 by 50, and it's not going to weed itself. Plus, I want all the poppies and vases on the tables at the hotel my family runs, greeting guests when they come down to breakfast. Unlike where you are, the ground here is mostly ledge. That means bare rock, way worse than your clay. And yes, to answer your question, I do feed my flowers, and I confess I talk to them too. I laugh and yell and chat about everything, from weeds to some of the guests staying at the hotel. I know it's gossip, but my flowers won't tell anyone. And besides, who else is there to talk to in the wee hours of the morning? They're good listeners, if nothing else. I tell everyone, we are on very good terms, my flowers and I. Speaking of being on good terms, Mr. Hassam, the painter, has come out again this summer, and he did the pictures for my little garden book. They are darling, and I'm so thrilled with them. I'm enclosing one of them so you can share it with your listeners. Yesterday, a guest stopped to ask me about my plants. She kept asking me, "What's your secret?" And the whole time, I could only think of one thing: love. So that's what I said. She raised her eyebrows, but I just shrugged. Then she laughed and walked out to meet the next batch of writers who are staying here for the week. This group is a loud one. Anyway, to me, love makes a difference with my flowers, as it does with all things. Your flower-loving friend, C. P.S. I was hoeing hard in the corner of a bed, and guess what? I turned up an enormous toad. I could have kissed him on the spot. That was Celia Layton Thaxter, who died on this day, August 25th, in 1894, on Appledore Island. She was 59. Per her wishes, her family laid flowers from her own garden around her coffin. In life, Celia was always busy doing something. When she wasn't in her garden or writing poetry, she loved to cook, sew, and paint china. She also managed a summer salon for artists and writers who visited the island. After her mother died in 1877, she held seances in a desperate attempt to reach her again. Celia's garden book was called An Island Garden, and Child Hassom's pictures are real and will be in the Daily Gardener newsletter this Friday. You can sign up for the newsletter over at thedailygardener.org. Today's book was Plants Go to War by Judith Sumner. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener, and remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day.